What's up? It's Yossi from Yossi the Boss, and I want to talk about why these days are the best days that have ever been for the humankind. If you look at the three things that were the main things that made us a lot of hard time in our life, which is wars, hunger, and diseases, basically humankind in the last decades had managed to diminish them to a to an extent that they are no longer that of a threat than it used to be. If you look at hunger, well, basically, humankind, thousands and thousands of years ago, had to hunt, had to eat plants, had to find all the time places where he needs to go in order to eat and survive. Back in those days, people actually died out of hunger. In these days, there's more chance for you to die from obesity than to die of hunger. Of course, there are still places in the world, such as in Africa, where people are literally dying from hunger. But as a global problem, the problem has really diminished. And of course, I do want to emphasize that in my mind, if we will take care of the hunger in Africa, the humankind will actually get to its biggest peak ever. Because in my mind, these places in Africa, which once they were brought into the era of now and closed the gap technologically, financially, politically, in the rest of the world, I believe that they could contribute so much more to this world that any of us could ever achieve without them, without Africa. So put that aside. I wanna talk about the next thing, which is wars. Well, we still have terrorism here, and terrorism is indeed one of the greatest problems. And as a as a as a Israeli man who which is happen to live in Israel, I do see terrorism affecting the the people here in Israel. Of course, there's terrorism all over the world, but here we see it a lot more frequently than other places in the world. Um, of course, you can argue about that with places such as Syria, whatever is happening there, but the point is that terrorism is not like World War II, where millions of people have died. Like a complete nation has been destroyed by another nation. War today is not that easy to happen or likely to happen as it was easy to happen 100 years ago or in the last World War, because in these days you have groups of people that are trying to avoid them in diplomatic ways. So wars has been also diminished in their numbers as compared to previous eras. If you look, if you will dive into that a little bit more, not that long ago, I would say something like maybe 300 years ago, we still had kings and monarchs. Not say kings, let's say monarchs at the most of the world. And back in those days, not saying what the monarch said you to do would be a death penalty for you and your family. Well, in these days, you are your own monarch. Of course, you have the prime minister, you have your boss, there are people who are telling you what to do and how to act, but you still have the freedom to say whatever it is you want to say. Of course, to some sort of extent. I mean, you will probably get banned if you say certain things, but leave that aside. Let's focus on the important thing, you have the freedom to say it. You have the freedom to study whatever it is you want to study. You have the freedom to go and work wherever it is you want to work. Of course, if the boss will hire you or not, it's up to your credentials and up to your skills, but you do have the freedom to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue. And that is not to be taken that naturally. I mean, people have to go through a whole lot of struggle for that to happen. And let's talk about the third thing, diseases. Well, hundreds of years ago, and let's say thousands of years ago, the life expectancy was used to be something near 40. And a lot of plagues had happened in the world which killed millions of people and wiped out entire areas where people lived. And because of medicine, we have diminished those problems so that there are many, many, many diseases that no longer exist. And even a disease like AIDS has been controlled and managed to not be a death sentence to a human being, and the human being who carries the HIV virus still can live and function in this world. And a lot of once used to be diseases that would kill you would now not not that likely to kill you because of medicine. And besides that, the life expectancy has been it's been the best it's ever been. In these days, you can live up to 100 and something, but the life expectancy in these days are somewhere between 80 and 82. Depends if you're a woman or a man. And your grandchildren will live to have a life expectancy of 100, which is, if you think about it, it's crazy. I mean, thousands of years ago, if you were 30, then you will reach the end of your life, you know, on average. And now you have people which are 30 and don't have kids yet, and they will live likely until the age of 80 or 80 something. And this is very, very amazing. This fact is amazing. I mean, look at your life. Look. You can decide where you want to live. You can decide whatever it is you want to eat. You, the chances are that you will die on the road driving your car rather than dying by a disease, by a war, or by hunger. So please get into proportion and realize how lucky you are to live in these days. And please, 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 whatever it is you dream to do, please do it. Just do it. Peace.